Greetings, adventurers. This is DM Kurt, and I'm here with Hannah and Kathy, and we're out for a little walk. So, I just finished running my 5e campaign of 2nd edition's Night Below, and I'm moving into handing over the DM screen to a couple of the players. And while they run something, I'm going to be writing my own thing. So, here's what I got in mind. Yesterday, one of my subscribers suggested Aliens, the role-playing game, using a D6 system, which sounds really exciting. And I guess it uses Aliens, and RoboCop as part of its genre, which is really cool. And I think I could probably sell that to my players as a option. I think some of them would be interested in it. So we consider that. But there's 2 campaigns I'm thinking of writing, and kind of want to get your guys' opinions on this. So the first one would be called Under a Broken Moon. And it's basically a take on the Thundar the Barbarian cartoons. You got your post-apocalyptic swords, lasers, mutants, and sorcery set up. And if I remember correctly, the background in the story of the cartoon show from the 1980s, it was the year 1994. A runaway planet crashed into the moon, breaking it in half and stripping away part of the Earth's atmospheres. There was earthquakes and tidal waves. Well, now it's thousands of years after, and humanity is starting to rebuild. It is a land of sorcery and mutants and stuff. So you have this barbarian fighting for freedom, freeing slaves against evil wizards and that sort of thing. Now, what I was going to do is, they pass oblique references to, modern Earth. Like, somebody animates the Statue of Liberty and somebody got to fight it. And wizards are doing stuff with crocodile men and, whatever. I'm thinking, okay, well, we're going to separate this into factions. You got the barbarians who yearn to live free and see that all others live free. So barbarian tribes and human tribes. The humans being, the villagers who are kind of rebuilding from the ashes. Okay. So, character classes, I'm going to take Castles and Crusades Barbarians. Kind of work with those. And the Barbarian Warriors will be, the Barbarian class. The Warriors from the settlements are going to be called Defenders. And sorry I had to do that spin because one of the dogs ran behind me and then the leash was wrapped up. So anyway, the fighters of the human settlements will be called Defenders. And one of their special abilities will be called Legends and Rumors. So they'll be able to call on the storytelling traditions of their people, and they'll be able to call on the ability that traders and merchants pass from village to village, and they bring information. So you can have a chance to know relevant things. And the third character class, Scavengers, which was going to be kind of a blend of rogue and ranger. I believe I'll have to look in my Castles and Crusades book. I want to say they call them thieves instead of rogues, but it doesn't matter because we're blending those two together and calling them scavengers. This will be your skill-based people. I was going to skip Divine Magic entirely and have the Sorcerer class. So the Sorcerer builds their magic power from just kind of their own special mutation. I was going to blend the arcane and divine spell categories together. I was going to omit anything like read magic because that assumes that magic spell books exist and spell scrolls exist, which I would not include. And I'm going to cut off things like, praying to a specific deity, because I'm just not going to have that. So, those are my character classes. You got a fighter, a rogue, and a magician type. Okay. Wizards are an NPC type who have dabbled into weird stuff, and so they've gotten almost inhuman. They tend to be crazy dudes in towers trying to rule the land around them. They're the bad guy NPC types. Looks like it could be fun. There's going to be, finding old pieces of technology and trying to get it to run. So that's it. Now, Under a Broken Moon, I believe, was the name of a PDF that I got where somebody tried to make up a game based on this, but they were making up their own system as they went, and it was not great. Not great. So I'm just using an existing rule set, slightly modified, that I know works. And that's the Siege Engine system from Castles and Crusades. I know it works. It's been play tested for a long time. The other campaign I'm planning on writing is called Desert Heat. Now, that sounds like a cheesy 80s action flick title. And again, all titles are subject to change. Until they hit the table, it's all theoretical and to be changed. So in this system, this campaign setting, I'm going to be using, again, Castles and Crusades. The player characters start off as orcs or orc-adjacent type creatures who are related to this orc tribe who lives up in the mountains. Why, your country is a country of deserts and mountains, a little bit of forest, a little bit of grassland. I'm going to take the map of Algeria, spin it 90 degrees, and kind of riff on that for the map. Then, okay, so what's going on is you guys live up in the mountains. The city dwellers, mostly humans, have been at relative peace with the orcs. There's quite a bit of orc and human interaction over the last couple hundred years, so half-orcs are not uncommon. So that's another playable race. Humans, half-orcs, orcs. Goblins. Well, there have been a tiny amount of elves in this desert region, desert elves. Basing them hugely off of the elves of Athos, Dark Sun. Things are okay. About 40 years ago, a kingdom of hobgoblins tried to invade, and they were pushed back. So the humans and the orcs, they kind of like mutual respect because they came together to free the land of the hobgoblins. So they're not in too bad of relation. Well, the human leader, has sold mining rights to this nation from across the sea, the dwarves. And the dwarves have these all manner of strange machines. Well, the king has said, well, I'm going to get all this money from these guys, and I'm going to use it to do capital investments. We're going to build roads and bridges and dams and all sorts of things. Truth is, he's going to skim probably half of it off himself, but it has to be expected. The dwarves, once they get in, well, they have basically an invading army. That's what they need to defend their mining interests. They have found that there's a material called black sand. It traces through the desert, and it can be used in conjunction with other materials to make metal easier to enchant. So they're here to harvest that and take it home. Yeah, I know that I'm heavy into metaphors here, making it very obvious. But hey, it's just a game. Relax. So, when the dwarves are in the towns, the human-centric towns, they behave themselves. Why, they're just the nicest guests. But when they're out in the wilderness and they see desert elves, they may attack them. Understandable. The desert elves are hunters, gatherers, and bandits. That's why the elves aren't really trusted by anybody. It's because they occasionally go into banditry. Okay. Well, if they want to move through a rural village, they'll do whatever they please. Things get too rough, they burn the village down. So they're going to be causing hostilities in the rural areas, to which they'll deny to the king, of course. And it's up to you guys to figure out what you want to do about this. So we're going to have this as a sandbox campaign. We're going to have end of campaign, victory conditions of if you destroy so much of the dwarf stuff or kill so many of the dwarven soldiers, you win. You lose enough of your troops, you lose. And what I want to do with this is I want to go to a silver standard rather than a gold. So you're paid in silver and all prices are in silver. We're going to change a couple of the rules. I want to increase the healing of overnight. You get 1d6 plus con modifier plus level, which isn't 5e D&D's nonsense of, healing from the brink of death to 100% overnight, because that's ridiculous. And it's not the drawn out 1 hit point per day of CNC, which is pretty rough. And let's face it, if you have serious wounds, you could be out for a long, long time in CNC. I don't want to set certain players as just kicked out of the action for a while. Nor do I want to have the cleric turn into a heal bot, where your only action is, you get to, heal and then shut up and then heal. It's just, that's an unfun character to play for some people when you don't have any other things to do. So anyway, that's kind of what I got for upcoming projects. Let me know which one of those sounds like more fun, and let me know if I should just do this for my own campaign or whether I should write something up and get it published, which means I would have to put more detail into it, layout, figure out how to get art into it, and maybe sell it over on Big Geek Emporium or something. Anyway, that's just me. DM Kurt, out.